We continue our quadratic unit with factoring and solving more quadratics. In this lesson, we are going to use the quadratic formula. We use the quadratic formula when other forms of factoring do not work for us. To begin, let's figure out what our A, B, and C are here. A is 5, B is -4, and C is -2. Let's take out the greatest common factor first. Oh wait, there's not one. Okay, is this a difference of squares? No. Is it a perfect square trinomial? And we can see that this is not a perfect square trinomial. Target product, target sum. The target product would be 5 times -2, which is -10, and the target sum is -4. There are not any factors of -10 that would give me 4 as a sum. I have 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. So I can't use target product, target sum. And when this happens, we are able to use what's called the quadratic formula. We use the quadratic formula by substituting in A, B, and C into the formula. The opposite of B is 4, plus or minus the square root of B squared is -4 squared, minus 4 times 5 times -2. This is all underneath the radical, and all of this, all of it, is over 2 times A. Cleaning this up, this is 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 plus 40 divided by 10. And this is x equals. This is x equals. So this is going to be x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 56 divided by 10. So now we have x equals. I need to clean up the square root of 56. So over here to the side I have the square root of 56. The square root of 56 is equal to 8 times 7. And then 8 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. Breaking this down into its prime factors. Okay. I have a pair of 2's, so the 2's come out, and what's left over stays underneath the radical. So this is 4 plus or minus. Instead of square root of 56, I'm going to replace it with 2 times the square root of 14 divided by 10. Every one of these terms here are divisible by 2. So 2 goes into 4 2 times, 2 goes into 2 1 time, and 2 goes into 10 5. So this is our answer. We have two answers. The first answer is 2 plus the square root of 14 divided by 5. The second answer is 2 minus the square root of 14 divided by 5. Next example. 2x squared plus 5 equals 0. Now we're going to go ahead and just start out with the quadratic formula. A is equal to 2, B is equal to 0. Be careful. B is always with x. There's no x here. C is just the number term. So the opposite of B, so the opposite of 0 is still 0, plus or minus the square root of B squared, which is 0 squared, minus 4 times 2, which is A, times 5, which is C, all divided by 2 times A, which is 2. So we have x equals, we don't have to worry about the 0, plus or minus the square root of negative 10 times 4 is 40, all over 4. I have 40 in here. Let's break this down into our prime factors and simplify this. 40 is 2 times 10. 10 is 2 times 5. So this is going to be 2 times the square root of 5. So we will replace square root of 40 with 2 times the square root of 5. So we have x equals plus or minus. Remember from right before the holiday, this negative pulls out and becomes I. So we have I, 2I times the square root of 5 divided by 4. Now we need to simplify further because 2 over 4 is 1/2. So this is plus or minus I times the square root of 5 divided by 2. Next problem. We need to identify our A, B, and C. A is 4, B is 5, and I don't know what C is yet because I need to bring the 2 to the other side, make it negative. So C is negative 2. So we have the opposite of B, so the opposite of 5 is negative 5, plus or minus the square root of B squared, which is 25, minus 4 times A times C, which is negative 2, all of this is underneath the radical, divided by 2 times A. This is x equals. So we have negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 plus negative times negative is positive. 16 times 2 is 32, all over 8. So x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 57 over 8. So there's our answer. Last problem. Let's change this into standard form so I can write it. 2x squared minus 8x plus 9 equals 0. So A is 2, B is negative 8, and C is 9. So into our formula, the opposite of B is positive 8 plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. This is x equals. So we have 8 plus or minus the square root of negative 8 times negative 8 is 64. 36 times 2, this is negative 72, all divided by 4. So we have x equals 8 plus or minus the square root of negative 8 divided by 4. We are not finished because 8 can be simplified, and remember this negative sign can come out and become an I. So we have the square root of 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. I have a pair of 2s, so I can bring out one of those 2's. So what I really have is x equals 8 plus or minus 2i times the square root of 2 divided by 4. Every one of these is divisible by 2. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 2 1 time. And 2 goes into 4 twice. So this is my x equals. This is my answer. And this is done.